And welcome to Ask Your Academic. Today's session will cover the MSc Global Mental Health and the Master of Public Health, both on-campus programmes. We have a full panel here today, which is nice. So we're joined by Dr. Sharon Greenwood, Dr. Julie Langan-Martin, and Margaret Ashton and Andy Smith. So they're going to answer any questions that you have about the programme. If you've got any questions that are sort of separate to the programme, sort of funding, accommodation, things like that, I'll pop some helpful links into the chat box for you. And we've also got an online postgraduate event coming up on the 7th of May, and there'll be sort of dedicated sessions for things like scholarships, accommodation and that. So that'd be a really good session to attend if you need any help on those sort of things. We are recording the session as well, so don't panic. There'll be a lot of information shared. You can go back and watch it afterwards, so that recording will be sent out in the next few days. So I think that covers all of our housekeeping. So if our panel would like to introduce themselves, Sharon, would you like to kick off?
Yep, absolutely. So thanks, Naomi. I'm Dr. Sharon Greenwood and I run the Masters in Public Health on-campus programme. I'll pass on to Julie.
Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Julie Langan-Martin and I lead the Global Mental Health Masters programme. Shall I pass on to Andy?
Hi, I'm Andy Smith and I'm the administrator for the MSc in Global Mental Health. Margaret.
Hi, I'm Margaret Ashton and I'm the administrator for the Master of Public Health.
Perfect. And could we hear a wee bit about the different programmes? So Sharon, we'll go back to you.
Yep, absolutely. So the Masters in Public Health has got a long history at the University of Glasgow. We have a very large cohort on campus. So if you choose to study with us, we'll be a very international cohort, full of lots of interesting people from all across the world. Our programme runs over the course of 1 year full time, but it can be studied on a part-time basis. We have 3 core courses, Introduction to Epidemiology and Statistics, Research Methods and Principles of Public Health. You take these in semester 1, which is September to December, and then you have the option of taking 3 options in semester 2. We've got a variety of options available for students, ranging from advanced epidemiology, communicable diseases, globalisation, health economics, health promotion, planetary health, oral health, lots of different options that are available to people. Some of these courses run year on, year off, so some of the options are not always available, but we always try to have as many options as we can. You take your optional courses in semester 2, and then that's followed up with a research project. Your research project is a large document that you produced, which is between 10 to 12,000 words. And that is on a topic of your choice. So you can often work really closely with a supervisor to undertake either a piece of primary research or to do a substantial literature review on a novel and innovative topic related to public health. Supplemented with the written element of this is the oral presentation, and we have a fantastic MPH conference that runs in June every year, where you're able to do an oral presentation and share your knowledge with your peers, and that is assessed as well. Finally, one of the other options, or one of the things to think about when you are studying a Masters in Public Health at the University of Glasgow, is to think about specialisms. So we offer 4 specialisms in the Masters in Public Health. We've got a Masters in Public Health with Data Science, one with Epidemiology, one with Health Economics and one with Health Promotion. And each of these specialisms has an associated core course that must be taken alongside it, and your project must focus on that specialism as well. There are obviously options to undertake a postgraduate certificate and diploma, and Margaret and I can advise you on that further, but I'll pass over to Julie now.
Great, thank you very much. So the Global Mental Health Masters programme has a similar structure to the Masters of Public Health. So like Sharon's course, you can undertake the Global Mental Health full-time over 1 year, or you can study part-time over 2 years. We also have 3 core courses for the Global Mental Health Masters programme. 2 of the core courses run in semester 1 and the 3rd core course runs in semester 2. So that's slightly different to the MPH. So our core courses are Themes in Global Mental Health, which provides just a foundational overview of what is global mental health and how do we define mental illness and things like this. Then we have our research methods course, which is key for the dissertation that Sharon had touched on for the MPH. And then our final core course is mental health law and policy, which runs in semester 2. So following your 3 core courses, you have the option to undertake another 3 optional courses. So some of the courses that Sharon mentioned are optional courses for global mental health because we have a lot of shared courses within our school, but we have some other options like mental health promotion across the lifespan and improving access to mental health care in the global context, which are global mental health run courses. The research project runs throughout semester 3, and this is an independent piece of research that you undertake in the field of global mental health. You're matched to a dissertation supervisor that will help guide you through the research project. And similar to the Masters in Public Health, there's 2 pieces of assessment for this 60 credit course. We ask students to write a thesis, usually in the style of a journal article, and students will do a poster presentation kind of pitch, and we run a sort of mini conference towards the end of semester 3 where students get a chance to present their poster, and then there's a Q&A session afterwards. So it's like being at a conference. We kind of try and kind of capture that sort of experience and encourage students to present and develop, you know, their transferable skills and their graduate attributes in this environment. We have 1 specialism for the Global Mental Health Masters programme, and this is a specialism with health promotion. And similarly to the Masters of Public Health, that affects your core courses that you take. So you take additional core courses if you're doing a specialism in health promotion. And we ask that your dissertation project is aligned to the theme of health promotion, which is clearly quite broad. So that's kind of the main points, I think, for the global mental health that I wanted to cover.
Perfect, thank you. And you have both mentioned their specialisms and optional courses. So probably a good question to lead on to that is, when are students expected to choose those? Is that right at the beginning, or do they get a bit of time?
So can I jump in, Sharon, first of all? Sorry. So certainly for the global mental health, during induction week, we spend a bit of time explaining the structure of the programme in a little bit more detail, and we provide more information about the optional courses so that students can make an informed decision as best they can about what core courses they want to, what optional courses they want to take. So we do encourage students to try and make these decisions quite early on in the semester so that they are in the right courses moving forward, and so we can match them to the right dissertation supervisor. So we encourage people to do that early on. There is clearly going to be some shift and some change, and that's absolutely fine. But what we would encourage students to do is to try and make the decision as early as possible, because that helps us with planning for the academic year.
Similarly, on the Masters in Public Health, we will be doing some introductory sessions during the induction week where we'll talk through the options that are available and the option to opt in for a specialism. We encourage you, or we kind of set a deadline for the end of September to make the decision about your specialism. Mainly this is because a lot of the courses that are associated with the specialisms are very, they're high in demand. So we often have to cap these courses. So in order for you to make sure that you do your specialism and that you can do your specialism, you need to make sure that you are on those courses before they fill up. Courses like that, like health promotion that we share with different programs across the college and across other colleges actually. We need to make sure that you get your choice in there first. We try and make sure that everyone has got their plan for the year in place as soon as possible. And as Julie said, obviously to think about your project, we start the project matching process for supervisors, and we do it jointly together, and we do that about October time, so it is starting quite early.
Perfect. And just on the research project, how does it work in terms of choosing a topic and a supervisor? Is there like a list that's shared that they choose from, or does it work different?
Do you want me to do this one, Julie?
I was going to say, Sharon, that one's your bag.
So we actually have tried to do a kind of shared school approach to this now, because we have so many students, and we want the students to work with the best possible supervisor that is most suited for their topic. We have a variety of supervisors that are available across the school and available through other schools. We encourage all students to come up with their own topic, and this can be a personal area of interest or something that they've maybe had experience in researching in the past, a question that they maybe have about public health or global mental health. We do also offer supervisor-led projects, which are on an application basis. So we hope to have a range of exciting topics available for the next semester. This year, some of our supervisor-led projects, which were really popular, have involved things to do with biobank research, substance use, and some of the other ones have been to do with sexual violence and public health, and we offer them out to all of the programmes that are associated with our matching process and allow students to apply to those. So they will get the choice of doing, if they were successful, to do the supervisor-led project or to do their own project. But regardless, you will be matched with a supervisor who can support you throughout your project.
Perfect, thank you. And in terms of classes, whereabouts are they typically held? Are they all on main campus?
Yes, mostly optional courses are mostly held in the Claris Pears building, which is our flagship building for the School of Health and Wellbeing. For the Masters in Public Health, a lot of your semester 1 classes will be usually held in one of the larger campus spaces, because we don't actually fit in the School of Health and Wellbeing. So this year it was in Boydor, but you will be in likely one of the big university buildings. And Julie, I don't know.
Yeah, so thanks, Sharon. So our Global Mental Health Masters Programme, I probably should have said, we probably sit around 48, 49 students. So we thankfully fit within our Claris Pears building, which is brand new, and we've only been open for just over a year now. So yeah, so usually we try and make sure that most of our teaching happens within the Claris Pears building, and we've been very lucky enough for that to happen. There are the occasional classes that are out with the Claris Pears building, but they usually are on the main campus. So you are centrally located on the main campus, which is nice.
I think as well, just sorry, Naomi, I just wanted to add in that 2 of the options that we have for public health are actually online courses. So these are remote learning courses that don't have a physical presence on campus. So you will be learning with online learners who are part of our Masters in Public Health or Masters of Global Mental Health or Masters of Health Technology Assessment online. And these are the real world data, which is a core one for data science for the Masters in Public Health, and health economics.
But and well, that kind of complicates my next question. So we're always asked, and I know there's no such thing as a typical week, but how sort of many days, hours should a student expect to be on campus for their classes?
Do you
So
want me to answer this one, Sharon?
If you want, yeah.
I mean, typically, if you were studying full time, you would expect in semester 1, you would have, as well as your 3 courses, for 2 of those courses for Principles of Public Health, as well as the lectures, you have seminars. And for the Introduction to Epidemiology and Statistics, we also have computing workshops. So you would be on campus probably on a Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, pretty much full time in semester 1. Semester 2, if you were choosing 3 on-campus courses and weren't choosing either of the online options, it would obviously depend on your days. We teach 5 days a week in semester 2. The timetable is really packed every day, so it would depend on your choice, but you could be attending, if you chose 3 courses on 3 different days, you could be attending 3 days in semester 2, or if you choose 2 courses that were in the one day and one in another, it could be 2. It really is dependent on your optional course choice in semester 2 if you're studying full time. There are other things, you know, that might come up, like seminars or guest lectures and things like that, that might you might attend another day. But normally what we try to do with these types of things is, even if they're on campus, they try to record them so that students that aren't able to attend still have the option of accessing recordings.
So I think for global mental health, it's, again, it depends what courses you're doing. So certainly themes in global mental health runs on on a Wednesday morning, and our research methods course runs on a Wednesday afternoon with some sessions on a Monday as well. And then it does just depend what your optional course is that you might be taking in semester one. So usually between 2 and 3 days a week, I would say, as a kind of estimate.
Perfect. And I'm assuming once registration opens around August time and courses are starting to get selected, you'll sort of build up your timetable and you'll get a better idea. Perfect. So we had a question there that I noticed you just answered, Sharon, but we actually have it submitted because there was quite a few people interested. So a few people have asked how the structure works for those students that are choosing to take the programmes part-time. So do you want to go first, Sharon?
Yes, so we have quite a number of part-time PH students because we have a lot of people who are in practice and who are clinicians and in other roles. Our part-time students will take, we can do a kind of bespoke arrangement with you. You can do the part-time programme over 2 years or 3 years. We try and encourage you to do over 3 years so that you have that time and that space, but it is possible to do it over 2 years. We would encourage you to take 2 of the core courses in your first year and at least 1 or 2 of your optional courses in the first year. During the summer, between year 1 and year 2, we try to match you up with a supervisor for your project so that you are good to go starting from semester 1 and year 2. In year 2, you'll pick up your optional, your core course that is left over. So that could be your research methods, intro to EPI and stats, or principles of public health, and you would make up your remaining courses from your optional courses semester 2.
Perfect. And is that similar for global mental health?
Yeah, so similar for global mental health. So we, like Sharon says, sort of encourage students to maybe go a little bit heavier with their top courses in year 1, because clearly you're not doing your dissertation then. So we would be encouraging students probably to do 2 courses in semester 1, and then 1 or 2 courses in semester 2 for year 1. And then year 2, you would have, you have to obviously complete your 120 top credits across the 2 years. And like Sharon, we'll match you early on in year 2 to your dissertation supervisor to make sure that you're good to go. But there is flexibility. So if somebody, so occasionally some people want to do maybe 80 credits in first year, and that's fine. We do have flexibility, and we're happy to meet with students and chat through options kind of on a one-to-one basis.
Right. And we've been asked, do students get access to any materials that will be shared during classes before the class, so they've got time to sort of read over them?
Yeah, so we're quite lucky in global mental health. We have a lot of asynchronous learning materials that are available on Moodle. So Moodle's our kind of learning platform, and we tend to have those available right at the start of the semester. So things like assessment information, assessment deadlines and things like this are ready to go at the start of the semester, so students can plan it out in their diary and can map things out. So we try, where possible, when our kind of in-person lectures are having, or coming to campus, we try and get the slides uploaded before the in-person teaching, which is usually happening kind of on a Wednesday or a Monday, say, but sometimes we don't manage to get all the lecture materials up beforehand, but we do have learning resources that are relevant to the weekly topic are available as well, so students can have a look at those learning materials so that they are prepared, or they've kind of read ahead for the lecture that will be happening later that week.
And very similar for the Masters in Public Health. A lot of our courses, because a lot of our courses, both across the Global Mental Health programme and the Masters in Public Health programme, are available for our online programme. Like Julie was saying, we've got our asynchronous learning materials that have been developed for many of our core courses. These you can access before coming to the session, and then obviously the session is a complementary element of that helps to solidify your learning.
Perfect. And we're always asked, but before a student starts in September, is there anything they can do to sort of set themselves up for starting their MSc?
Read widely. We always get questions and people always ask for recommended textbooks. I'll speak on behalf of public health. I don't want to speak on behalf of Julie and global mental health, but for public health, I would really encourage you to read really widely. There are some fantastic books out there that can get you into the way of thinking about some of the core concepts to do with public health, such as Wilkinson and Pickett's The Spirit Level, which talks about health-based inequalities, which is some of those concepts are really, really core to understanding public health. So there isn't a key textbook. We don't encourage you to buy a key textbook. We encourage you to read really widely.
Yeah, absolutely. So I would completely echo what Sharon says, read widely and read critically. I always think it's really important to have your critical hat on when you're reading documents and things like this out there. So again, we don't have core textbooks or anything like that we're encouraging you to buy. We do have reading lists available for every course, which I know the MPH has as well, which are really detailed and really helpful just to allow students to get a kind of flavour of the academic research out there. But things like the Lancet series in global mental health, these really kind of important and key papers would be important. You can just Google these and they're all open access. So if students wanted to kind of read ahead, that would be not a bad starting point for global mental health anyway. But absolutely, the more you can read, the better before you start your studies.
Right. And we've got a question that was specifically for the MPH. This person has a bachelor's in dentistry and they're asking if they could choose the data science specialism.
Yes, absolutely. And actually, we've got a really high proportion. Over the last few years, we've had loads of dentists, haven't we, Margaret? And actually, a lot of the dentists have gone into data science as a specialism and have really brought a unique flavour to that. So absolutely, yes.
Perfect. And we've also been asked, is it feasible to have a part-time job alongside your MSc?
Yes.
You can, but you're limited. If you're here on a student visa, you're limited to 20 hours per week. You can't work more than 20 hours per week.
Yeah, so I mean, a lot of students do work part-time while they're studying full-time. I think that's, can be challenging in terms of balancing time, and I think you have to be really organised and really kind of diligent at getting your assessment dates and things like this in your diary. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people do work part-time, and as Margaret highlights, there are visa regulations about part-time working, so just be careful to check that out as well.
I think I just want to add on top of that, while it might not be paid work that you might want to be considering, there's also the option to do unpaid work and to do volunteering positions. And one of the things that's actually grown out of us moving into our new building in the Claris Pears is our connections that we have with Byres Community Hub. There's lots of opportunities to volunteer and get involved with community organisations that are based around the Claris Pears building, and you can build up a lot of transferable skills that way as well.
Yeah.
Perfect. And then what sort of jobs or things do graduates of the programmes going to do after completion of the programme?
So shall I start? Is that right for global mental health? So we're very fortunate that we have a really diverse group of students that come and undertake the global mental health master's programme. So people from very diverse backgrounds, both academically and kind of geographically. So we have lots of students and lots of graduates that go on to do lots of different things, and we've been trying to track our graduates and build up our alumni network via LinkedIn, actually, which has been really nice. So we have, students who've gone on to further study, for example. So we have some students that want to go and do PhD studies and do a PhD. So we've had a number of students do that. Some people are very interested in doing maybe clinical work. So some students have gone on to do the doctorate in clinical psychology. Other students have gone on to work for NGOs, so for a variety of non-government organisations all around the world. We had a couple of people go on to do internships with the WHO, and then one person went on to work with the WHO for a while. We have people that go back and work in healthcare systems and maybe in promoted posts following their master's programme. We've had people go and work really in a vast variety of different places, and it's really nice to hear about our alumni and where they go. And we have a careers day actually, usually once a year, where we get a kind of catch up about some of our alumni. So I think somebody who's coming actually is working in the UN, so it's really very varied.
And what about MPH?
MPH, again, very, very similar. MPH used to lead into being a public health professional, but actually the MPH degree equips you with so many transferable skills that you can take them so many different areas. And so lots of us, lots of our students have experience in data science and data analytics, so maybe go into a researcher position. We've got people who went on and worked in public engagement and actually who have been engaging with third sector organisations. We've got people who are working for local government, for national government, for big international organisations such as the UN or WHO. So it is up to kind of your particular interest and your particular skill set. And one of the big beauties of our Masters in Public cohort is that we have a lot of students who have got a history in various different disciplines. So it could be that they come from a clinical background and are wanting to make the shift to do public health in a non-clinical setting. And that's the kind of beauty of both our courses, actually, I think, that gives you that ability to build up those transferable skills.
Thank you. We've got a question here in the chat box, and it's quite specific, so bear with. It says, as a student interested in comparing Brazilian public service frameworks with the UK's Equality Act through a research project, I would like to know if the University of Glasgow provides any support or resources for students to facilitate contact with government bodies. How can the university assist in establishing these critical connections for comparative legal research?
So we have lots of different connections with different bodies, and I think the School of Health and Wellbeing itself has so many different connections with other universities, with legal bodies, with government bodies, with non-governmental organisations. So there generally will be some way to build up those connections with someone. And certainly if that was your topic, regardless of whether you were doing the Masters in Public Health or Global Mental Health, Julie and I would be looking to try and match you with someone who has experience of understanding the UK's Equality Act and how we could best equip you with that. And sometimes might not be necessarily the particular health focus that you need, but actually what we really think is the good markers of a good dissertation supervisor is someone who's got the methodological expertise that can support you with that. And most supervisors who are matched will be able to support you with the kind of research methods that you want to do.
Perfect. And there was a question there in the chat box, which I think is quite a good one for the wider audiences. Can you collaborate with other departments for your research project?
Yeah, absolutely. So as I responded in the chat box, we've got, again, and just as what I was saying there, we've got massive connections with other schools across the college, but also across different colleges. So the University of Glasgow's structure is that we have 4 colleges, and within each of those colleges we have various schools. We sit within the College of MBLS, which is Medical, Veterinary and Life Sciences, and we have lots of connections within the different schools that go there. Some of the projects that some of our MPH students are undertaking this year are working with, for example, nutrition, One Health, various different bodies like that, and we also have the connections with social science as well.
Perfect. And I think just last question to wrap up our session is, do you have any advice for any students starting in September? Anybody?
Sharon, do you want to go for it?
I'll go first.
Yeah.
I think coming with an open mind. So I think particularly if you are an international student, coming here for the first time can be a big culture shock in terms of getting used to the Scottish climate. For one, it can be quite cold, so make sure you buy yourself a good winter jacket if you're an international student, but also just being able to connect with other students. So majority of our students are international students, so actually the kind of Scottish students that you'll meet will be a very small pocket, and actually you'll be meeting people from all across the world. And that's one of the strengths, I think, for the teaching in our school, is that our students connect with so many people, and those are lifelong connections that you take on beyond. So while they might be your classmate and might support you through your epidemiology assessment, that might be someone who you end up connecting with in the future, who, once you're in a very prestigious position in the WHO or the World Health Organization, you can tap them up for advice and support. I don't know if you've got anything else you want to add, Julie?
No, I mean, I think that's brilliant advice. I think definitely come with an open mind, embrace all experiences when you come to Glasgow. I think, you know, if there's lots of things that come up, so Sharon touched on the buyers community hub that we have within our school, but there's lots of opportunities to do kind of extra things like the Graduate Skills Award, for example, or get involved in some group activities and things like this. So I would just encourage people to try and embrace these activities where possible, and definitely bring a good pair of waterproof shoes along with your winter jacket, because the weather can get a little bit cold, a little bit wet, especially in, towards the end of semester 1, early semester 2. But yeah, we would definitely recommend you coming here. Everybody's really friendly. The students are amazing, so diverse, and friendships are made for life actually within our cohorts, and it's lovely to see that.
Thank
Could
you.
I just add that I would say
Yeah.
take advantage of all the resources the university has to offer. They offer English language classes. They have a student learning development set group. Take advantage of all of these things because they're all there to help you, and they're wonderful. So I would say that any resource that is available to you, take advantage of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Andy, anything you'd like to add?
I think, yeah, just don't worry if you have questions for your program administrators. We can refer you on to various different things in the university. So just always feel free to approach us if you have any questions or concerns.
And Margaret
Thank
and Andy are like the most experienced administrators that you'll meet, so you're in good hands.
Yeah, and we're from Glasgow as well, so we know the city, and yeah, just get in touch if you have any questions.
Yeah, I would definitely, the administration teams for all our programs are amazing and they are such a valuable source of information. So do really contact them if you do have any questions. Well, thanks very much to our panel. That was a lot of information shared in a really short space of time. So like I said, we have recorded it, so that will be sent out to you in the next few days. And do get in touch if you've got any questions. And hopefully we'll see you all in September. So thanks very much. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.